Babe of the day. Babe of the day. Barbara Eden. Liking Barbara Eden is an easy thing to do. She's a very likable actress. Seriously, is there anyone out there who doesn't like I Dream of Jeannie, or at least something about it? I don't think many people thought of Jeannies as sexy, bubbly blondes before that show. But since then, a lot of people gravitate to that idea. And Barbara Eden will always be the sexiest Jeannie. She worked quite a bit before, during, and after that classic TV show, but it's fair to say that Jeannie is her most famous credit. The cool thing about Barbara Eden is that she's not much different from Jeannie. Sure, she's nowhere near as dingy as her magical counterpart, but she's just as friendly and outgoing. Jeannie always aimed to please, and so does Barbara. She genuinely seems to appreciate her work and her fans. Barbara Eden was born Barbara Jean Moorhead in 1931. Although born in Tucson, Arizona, she moved with her mother to San Francisco, California when her parents divorced. Her mother would eventually remarry and later give Barbara a half-sister. Barbara is a descendant of Benjamin Franklin. Shameless self-plugging time. Shameless self-plugging time. Check out my video series, Ben Franklin Fun Fact of the Day, for various tidbits of interesting trivia on the Founding Father. He's far more interesting than you may expect. Much of Barbara's childhood took place during the Great Depression, and it hit her family pretty hard. They didn't have a lot of luxuries, so they entertained themselves by singing. This was Barbara's springboard into show business, and it wasn't long before she started singing solos in the church choir, then in local bands. One of these bands was led by Freddie Martin, who was quite famous in his day. Barbara was 20 when she was elected Miss San Francisco in 1951. She even tried out for the Miss California pageant. Looking back, it's surprising that she didn't win because she was very good looking. It's harder to be a career beauty queen than a lot of people think, and I don't think they get enough credit. She started her TV career in 1955 as a recurring cast member on The Johnny Carson Show. This was not The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. A lot of people forget Johnny had his own show long before that, although it was only on for a year. It was similar to The Tonight Show, but it was a half-hour variety show aired during prime time. Her first movie was in 1956, called Back from Eternity. She played a nameless college girl and received no on-screen credit. It was also in 1956 that she started using the last name of Eden. It wasn't until 1957 that things started happening for Barbara. She made an appearance on the impossibly legendary sitcom I Love Lucy as a young hottie named Diana Jordan. It was a notable role with good screen time, and I believe it solidified her career as the go-to girl when Hollywood wanted to cast likable, sexy blondes. In a much later interview, Barbara recalled that Lucy was initially very frosty to her. Desi Arnaz, Lucy's husband in real life and in fiction, had designs on Barbara, because he had designs on just about any female, and Lucy was jealous. Once it was clear Barbara had no interest in Desi, everything worked out better. She also remembered the real-life animosity between Fred and Ethel actors William Frawley and Vivian Vance. It wasn't the most comfortable set to be on, but it was a great episode and well remembered by fans. That same year, she had a small part as Tony Randall's secretary in the Jane Mansfield comedy movie Will Success Spoil Rock Hunter? These weren't major parts, but they were in majorly successful shows that are still enjoyed today. She did, however, get her first big step up as one of the 3 female leads in the sitcom How to Marry a Millionaire. The series lasted for just 2 seasons, from 1957 to 59, and was based on the movie of the same name. The show had a good cast. Barbara Eden, Lori Nelson, and Mary Anders were the initial 3 girls. Nelson left the show after season 1 and was replaced by Lisa Gay. Despite being well liked by critics and audiences, the show was still canceled early. Barbara played a character named Loco Jones who, besides her ditziness, had extremely poor Mr. Magoo type eyesight. She had to wear glasses, but never wore them around men. The idea of the show is that these three women lived in an apartment and were desperately seeking rich men. Barbara continued working in TV and film, developing a good reputation as a dependable actress. Her real big break in movies came in 1960 when she starred as Elvis Presley's leading lady in the Western movie Flaming Star. This is notable as an Elvis movie. It's one of the few where a lot of people agree that Elvis did a good acting job. He played a dramatic role. It's not as well known as a lot of his other movies, but being in an Elvis movie was a good thing and got you noticed. In 1961, she got a memorable supporting role in the science fiction film Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. It featured a large ensemble cast of established actors and up-and-comers who went on to have bigger careers. This also featured Barbara's then-husband, Michael Ansara, whom she had been married to since 1958. This movie was a big hit, and most people remember Barbara's part in this movie better than the leading lady role she had in previous movies. That isn't as unusual as it sounds, and this same phenomena happens with a lot of actresses. Despite being great looking and being a likable screen presence, there were a lot of roles Barbara tried out for that she just didn't get. Hollywood has never been a nice place, but if you're an actress who likes what she's doing, you just keep trying. Barbara's perseverance paid off in dividends. In 1965, she was sought out by showrunner Sidney Sheldon for his new fantasy sitcom I Dream of Jeannie. A lot of girls had unsuccessfully tried out for the part, but they just didn't have that quality Sidney felt the Jeannie character needed. Sidney had seen Barbara as the leading lady in the 1964 film The Brass Bottle. The movie was not that successful, but it reteamed her with Tony Randall, who was the male lead. It was a comedy movie about a man and a genie, played by Burl Ives. It inspired Sidney to make I Dream of Jeannie. He thought that the show would be funnier if the genie was a silly, sexy woman, because it was something that really hadn't been done before, at least not on such a big scale. Barbara Eden was perfect for Jeannie, and TV history was made. It also ensured that, from here on out, she would get top billing in just about every movie she wanted to be in. This show is just cool. Considering when the show was made, the effects were pretty good, and there were a lot of them. But what really made the show work were the elaborate situations. Sometimes Jeannie caused problems by accident, and sometimes she caused them on purpose due to her childlike personality and her desire to be Tony's wife. In the middle of the 5th season, Tony actually marries Jeannie, and it stays this way for the rest of the series. The premise of the show changed a bit. They were no longer trying to hide Jeannie's existence, but her magic powers instead. It became more like Bewitched than ever before. I actually liked the idea that Tony and Jeannie married because it was the obvious direction the show should have taken. But all three leads, Barbara Eden, Larry Hagman, and Bill Daly, denounced this decision and claimed it killed the series. I don't think it killed the series. It had just been on for a long time. Besides that, the show had been getting repetitive after the 3rd season, and I never liked the addition of Jeannie's evil twin, Jeannie 2. I think audiences grew tired of the series beforehand, and the marriage came too late. Had the wedding taken place in the 3rd season, the show would have stayed fresh. Jeannie ended in 1970, but Barbara Eden did not. She had her own specials, movies, and TV movies for quite a while after her famous show ended. Surprisingly, she had an unaired, unsold TV pilot for The Barbara Eden Show in 1973. I'm surprised this wasn't picked up. It seemed a natural choice. That same year, she had another unsold, unaired TV pilot called The Toy Game, in which she and Larry Hagman played rival CEOs of toy companies. She ended up working with Larry a number of times after Jeannie ended, but never in a Jeannie revival. Jeannie was brought back for 2 TV movies. The first, in 1985, was called I Dream of Jeannie 15 Years Later. This movie is kind of a bummer because Larry Hagman was replaced with Wayne Rogers from MASH. I just don't think you can do a Jeannie show without Barbara Eden and Larry Hagman together. The second and final Jeannie movie, in 1991, was called I Still Dream of Jeannie. This was even more of a dud, as it didn't even have the Tony Nelson character in it. He was written out as having gone missing, and Jeannie was on the hunt for a new master. These were really not well thought out follow-ups to the TV show we all love. But Barbara Eden looked and played the part of Jeannie as good as ever. In 1978, she starred in the comedy film Harper Valley PTA, based on the famous country song. It was an independent film and made on a lower budget, but it proved to be a huge hit and made millions. From 1981 to 82, she starred in the TV series for it. Although it straggled along for 2 seasons, only 30 episodes were produced. She was given yet another short-lived series from 1989 to 90 called Brand New Life. It was sort of like an 80s version of the Brady Bunch. After that, she didn't have any more TV shows of her own, but she made many guest appearances. From 1990 to 91, she made 5 appearances on Dallas, the show of her Jeannie co-star Larry Hagman. Her last movie was the overlooked family film My Adventures with Santa from 2019, where she plays Mrs. Claus. Despite doing Jeannie's voice in a series of cartoons made for YouTube from 2020 to 2022, 2019 seems to be the cutoff year for all her work, including stage appearances. Barbara Eden has been married 3 times. The first, to Michael Ansara, ended in 1974. They were married the entire time I Dream of Jeannie was in production, and for quite a while before and after that show. They had a son named Matthew, who also got the acting bug. Sadly, Matthew died of an accidental overdose in 2001. Barbara's second marriage lasted from 1977 to 82. She wed for the third and final time in 1991. She has such an impressive filmography that I urge you to seek out her TV and film work however you can. Barbara Eden deserves her spot as a Hollywood legend, and a Jeannie-rific Babe of the Day, Babe of the Day.